Welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. The day once again before the final day of the La Liga season, and in today's video we are going to be doing very similar to last week. What we're going to be doing is discussing some Barcelona news, some transfer latest, and then at the end of the video we're going to be going over our game against Eibar tomorrow with some things that you might need to know. But first and foremost, we are going to discuss the forefront right now of the transfer latest, which all revolves around Antoine Griezmann. And the reason I want to talk about that is, in the last few days, after some really good initial talks, there was a lot of good feeling around Griezmann, a lot of positivity, and a lot of feeling that we would definitely sign him this summer. What I would say, though, is the past few days in the Spanish media, there's been a few murmurs that maybe Barcelona aren't going to be able to sign him this summer. Maybe we're not going to get the deal done. However, what I want to say about Griezmann right now is this. What's happened in the last few days is that Pep Guardiola came out Man City. He's asked about Griezmann. He was asked whether Man City would be interested in signing him this summer. And Pep Guardiola came out and said, look, Barcelona don't have to worry. We cannot afford Antoine Griezmann this summer at Manchester City. And much the same as that, Thomas Tuchel, PSG coach, also came out and said Griezmann is a great player, but it's not a realistic move for us right now. We are targeting defensive profiles. He's not really what we're looking for at the moment. And suddenly there, I believe, Atlético Madrid are in a nightmare, simply because Man City aren't interested, PSG aren't interested, and suddenly their target market has been significantly reduced to simply Barcelona, and because of that, there'll be no bidding war. Nobody will be fighting over Griezmann. Nobody will be playing that release clause as quickly as they possibly can to snap Griezmann up. And the reason for that is now, I believe Barcelona are just playing the media. I think they're using that influence in the Spanish press to just play down their interest right now in Griezmann because they want to lower that fee. I think ideally we want to be paying less than that 120 million release clause, and rightly so, because I think that there is an extortionate amount of money on a 28-year-old striker. And certainly right now, that would explain the sort of articles we're seeing from Sport, who've come out and said the dressing room are against the signing of Antoine Griezmann. Big cover this morning from Sport, basically saying the dressing room were not happy with the decision last summer, the decision video. They were really angry about that, and for that reason, they don't want to sign Griezmann this summer. They don't want the club to go down that route. And then MD have come out actually and said, look, that Sport article there, it's not exactly on the money. They've said the dressing room do approve the signing of Griezmann, as does Valverde, as do the Barcelona board. And I just think right now it's a game of cat and mouse. Griezmann clearly wants to leave. Atletico Madrid, rightly so, want the most amount of money they can get for him, but at the same time Barcelona want to negotiate. They want to try and pay under that clause, maybe 100 million, maybe 110 million. What they want to try and do right now is just play down that interest. They know the player wants to leave. They know that really Atletico Madrid are going to be looking to sell, but with no PSG interested, no Man City interested, Barcelona right now are one of the only destinations that Griezmann can go to this summer, and I still do believe, deep down here, we are still in pole position. And of course, another signing that we really want to know the latest on right now is Matthijs de Ligt coming in from Ajax. Is it going to happen? And most importantly, if it is going to happen, when is it going to happen? Because I have to say, I've been expecting this announcement, something official, ever since Ajax's season was over. I was expecting Barcelona to come out pretty quickly and try and confirm this one. But I do believe right now that the deal is being held up. And MD came out this morning and basically said the following: de Ligt right now is still being held up, his move to Barcelona, simply because of his agent, Mino Raiola, which is quite ironic, really, given the fact that Mino Raiola is actually banned right now from operating within football right throughout the summer so far, and he's going to have a 3-month ban there where he cannot actually himself get involved in negotiations. But according to MD's report, Raiola's agent fee is still the problem here, still a snag on that de Ligt deal. Apparently that agent fee from Raiola remains not just higher than what Barcelona want to pay, but much higher, and for that reason Barcelona right now are not budging. They're staying firm and they're saying, look, this is what we're going to play, this is what we're willing to pay, and that is that. And although maybe this does sound a bit like nitpicking, you'd think, just go and pay the money, get the player in, we want to go and pay it. But at the end of the day, in these sorts of deals, I can fully understand here what Barcelona must be thinking, because Mino Raiola, he's very much a super agent, he's very much one of those agents that really does try and get every single euro out of this kind of deal. He takes advantage of clubs, he takes advantage of players, and simply because, to get that personal gain. Because you look at when Paul Pogba joined Man United a few years years ago now, of course, for a world record fee at the time of £89 million, Raiola actually made from that deal, including all parties from Pogba, from Man United, from Juventus. Raiola apparently made £41 million from that deal alone, and simply because of that, he's going to be looking here, a big deal, De Ligt, a superstar, going to a super club. He's going to try and get his hands on as much money as he possibly can, and that for me right now is certainly holding up the deal, and that is why really Barcelona do not like dealing with Mino Raiola, and it's going to be very interesting now to see how this is resolved. I do believe that eventually we are going to get past this. We are going to, hopefully the will of the player is going to force this move. Hopefully the fact that De Ligt wants to be at Barcelona, he wants to play for Barcelona, hopefully that's going to be driven, because at the end of the day, these agents, they still have to think about their client. They still have to have their client's best interests in their heart, and at the same time here, De Ligt has got to be saying, look, I want to make this move, let's make it happen, let's cut some corners, let's cut some profits if we have to, but look, I want to play at Barcelona, and hopefully in the end, that there is where this deal could be resolved. But at the same time, guys, you may have seen some photos in the past few days of Matthijs de Ligt actually in the city of Barcelona, which also added to the transfer rumours, but sadly that also doesn't direct relately to his transfer either, simply because it's a coincidence really that Ajax right now and a lot of their squad players chose Barcelona as their destination for their holidays following their very successful season right throughout the campaign so far. So De Ligt is in Barcelona right now, also Frankie de Jong, and a number of the other Ajax players are also in Barcelona. Of course, we could try and sign them all, but as of right now, that has not happened. But if we now turn our attention to our final La Liga game of the season tomorrow, which will be coming away at Iparrua against Eibar. The kickoff for that one will be 4:15 local time, and I do have the squad here from Ernesto Valverde, the squad list for tomorrow's game. No Marc-Andre ter Stegen through injury. Semedo is there, Piqué, Rakitic, Sergio Busquets, Todibo. No Felipe Coutinho or Arthur or Suarez also through injury. There is Lionel Messi. No Dembele, no Rafinha also through injury. Sillerson, Malcolm, Longley, Albert, Sergio Roberto, Carlos Alenia there, Vidal Umtiti, Ricky Puig, Abel Ruiz, Iñaki Peña, Wage, and Carlos Perez there complete the squad for Barcelona tomorrow. Valverde, of course, to face the media this afternoon. A lot of the normal quotes really from Ernesto Valverde. He still spoke about the hurt from that defeat, but ultimately did remain that we'd had a good season and that we should see it that way. The one thing that I will say tomorrow regard to this game is we should see a strong Barcelona team tomorrow, simply because in that press conference earlier on, Valverde said, look, in the cup final coming up in a week's time, what we're going to do now is see the same sort of plays playing in tomorrow's game with a view to that cup final. So I would certainly expect a strong team there from Valverde. Probably wants to go out on a winning note at the end of the season here. We've won the title, of course, we have done now for many, many weeks, and in terms of domestic success, we have been good this season, but obviously right now, the league games are not really paramount importance. We're still hurting from that Champions League exit, no doubt about it, and the cup final will be our final competitive match of the season, and that'll be coming next weekend, and that should be the final game there of what has been a testing season, but ultimately here we're hoping for better, but it does look, like I said yesterday, that Ernesto Valverde is remaining at Barcelona. And on that particular note, guys, I do want to finish here on something much, much more positive, because yesterday Xavi Hernandez played his final ever game of professional football. He is now retired completely and he'll be focusing on coaching, and he actually came out yesterday and spoke a few words on Barcelona, and I think what he said actually was very, very significant. He was asked, of course, about coaching, about becoming the head coach at Barcelona. He said Barcelona is the main job, that's the dream, that's the goal. Everything must happen though in good time. Obviously, it's one of my objectives. I want to reach it at some stage in my career, but I need to be fully prepared. Now is not that time. I will prepare for this job. And he then went on to say something for me which really does resonate with me, something I can relate to 100%. He said Barcelona need to go back to dominating games. If not, it's impossible to win the Champions League if you're not dominating. That's what history has shown us with Barcelona. We've won 2 Champions League titles when we've won the league and we've been dominating games. That is when we're at our best. And right now, I don't think that happens as much. So very, very interesting words there from Xavi Hernandez. And what he also did in that interview yesterday was indirectly speak some very high words and praise Victor Font. Now, if you're not fully aware of that name, that is somebody that is going to be running for presidency of Barcelona from 2021 when the elections take place. And Victor Font is absolutely determined to take Barcelona back to their roots. He's looking at a good campaign. He's got a lot of things lined up, very much the Barcelona way, and going back to that true philosophy. And of course, when those elections become closer and closer and closer, I'm going to be giving you a lot more information and spreading the word, really, about Victor Font and what he's trying to do. But Xavi yesterday, full of praise. So it's unlikely we're going to see him under the Bartomeu regime. It's unlikely we're going to see him at the club right throughout that tenure until 2021. But when that time comes and when he's ready, I would certainly expect to see something. And so that is that for today's news, guys. Thank you, as always, for joining me. I'm going to be having more videos coming up. Of course, tomorrow's game we're going to be looking at, and then following that, I'm also going to be doing some videos in the build-up to Copa America this summer. You guys have spoken. You said you'd like to see videos on that. So, of course, I will give them to you, and I'm very, very excited to do that. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below with everything mentioned in today's video. I'll see you soon with more. But until then, enjoy your Saturday. Visca el Barça!